Okay guys, we're going to jump into our 3 morning exercises. Please excuse the lighting. I'm always sort of conscious. It's early in the morning, so I'm conscious of how much noise uh, and waking other people up. So the first movement I'm going to do is I'm going to do a row from an inverted position. So a row is when you're utilizing your lat muscles to draw resistance towards you. That can be done by pulling your body towards something, like a chin up or an inverted row, or it could be done by pulling resistance towards you. At a gym, a seated row would be an example of that, where a pad would be here, and I'd be pulling two handles that represent resistance towards myself. So you're pulling things towards yourself. It's your lats are the primary muscle groups used, and then beyond that, your back extensors, stabilizing muscle groups of the back, and biceps and forearm flexors are really heavily utilized. So I'm going to use my jiu-jitsu belt to create the angle I want to create for this row. But at home you'd have to do it a little differently. You'd probably be using your resistance band around something in a standing position. So if you have any trouble with how to do that, please just DM me and I'll give you a simple explanation. So that was just fine. The toughest thing is the jiu-jitsu belt is a very thin piece of cloth material. So you're always going to fail with your weakest muscle group. So your lat, which stretches from your upper arm down to mid-waist, extremely big and strong. Biceps smaller, forearms smaller, and then the muscles of the grips and the fingers smaller yet. So my grip was where I failed primarily. So we're going to move from that. I'm going to pause for a moment just to reposition the camera, and I'm going to go into a dynamic lunge, which of course at home you could do as a simple alternating lunge or a step back lunge. So I'll sort of quickly go through an alternating lunge, a step back lunge, and then I'm going to move into dynamics because that's the exercise that serves me the best. So our front alternating lunge would look like this. Shoulders remaining over hips. If you have a tough time with your knees, your reverse lunge may be a little more friendly to your patella tendon. I am being careful of my knee position over my foot, but I'm more listening to my knee. It's not an absolute crime to have your knee drift over your toe, as some people say. And then my version is I work in a dynamic lunge. So I'm generally working up to a point where I have a lot of lactic acid and my heart rate is climbed. So once again, a pause and exercise 3. So even if you're not using the dynamic variety of the lunge, your heart rate's going to elevate. And the reason is 2/3 of our muscle mass falls below our belly button. So when we're doing lunge and squat movements, whatever type, whether they're just traditional strength movements, plyometric movements, a lot of oxygen demand is there, and that will take your heart rate up. So if you're early on, your next movement, which is a posterior movement, a movement for the back of the body, might be a swimmer. So just working in a prone position here, I'm going to lift my opposite heel and opposite hand. Trying to keep my chin up and create good height to the lift of my heel and my hand. That's the beginner's variety. I use a tiny push-up for acceleration and work from the high plank. So my version looks like this. So of course I feel engagement through the front of my body, but I equally feel engagement in my back extensors, upper back, glutes and hamstrings. And that's the important thing. So if this is your workout for the day, you want to repeat your variety of these exercises as many times as necessary to get yourself up to about 20 minutes of exercise. And hopefully if your condition's improving, you're getting to the tougher modifications and the workout duration is stretching to a little bit longer time. So good luck with your fitness day. Be aware of your food for the day. And please hit me up with any questions you have on my fitness page or on my personal page. Thank you guys.